This is how I plan on achieving my dreams in, I want to say a year, but I think that kind of defeats the purpose of this video. So soon. Anyways, this is me. Now, I have this fundamental problem, which is I have a lot of things I want to do, but I'm not getting anything done. I think a lot of people can resonate with this problem because, especially if you're someone who is following their dream or their passion, people who are living a life that is sort of unstructured and there's no set timeline struggle with a lot of what I'm trying to explain here. Let me give you a little bit of context. I am a musician living in South Korea. Every single male has to go through this one little special ceremony in their lifetime, which is called the mandatory military service. After serving 18 months, I finished mine in the beginning of 2024. Up till now, I had around 2 years worth of time to just, experience life. I didn't go back to school. I decided to pursue this music career. I signed with a label. I've released music. Through those 2 years, I have felt this problem plaguing me. I thought of 2 reasons for it, and these are very compelling reasons. The first reason is it's very difficult for me to measure progress, because if we compare this life to structured life, such as like school or work. For school, you have semesters that are planned out for you. You have midterm dates and finals. Work as well. I mean, I've also had a corporate job, believe it or not. You have a quarter planned out for you, and you have people who are there to supervise you, to receive your work. However, in my case, there was no sense of me moving forward in a way that's sort of like making progress. I have to be the one to be accountable for myself. I have to give myself work. All of these things that make it very difficult for you to measure your progress. Also, just the fact that there's a lack of people auditing your work. School, you have professors, grading your work. Jobs, you have your supervisors, and you're also sort of missing the other person's perspective. There's no feedback involved. And the second reason is intricate planning almost never really works. If you go on YouTube and then you look up how to succeed in life, people tend to tell you, you should try and plan out your life. Plan out all the details. Imagine who you're going to be in 5 to 10 years. I tried that and I almost never followed through. I'm not saying that it's bad to plan, but intricate planning almost never works. It's because life is too dynamic for detailed planning. For example, me as a musician, I have to think about making music, making content, marketing myself, right? But I also have to consider income, exercise, rest. All of these things require adjustments and adaptation. Also, I've realized that I never have enough knowledge or experience to perfectly plan every single time. I'm gonna give you an analogy. Recently, I was able to run a marathon. When I first started taking this thing seriously, I just have to run consistently. Then I start looking up all the different details about preparing for a marathon. I have to worry about shoes, nutrition, energy gels, the different types of training, easy runs, long runs, interval runs, injuries. All of these details that come up during the process make it impossible for you to perfectly plan every single time, and you have to adjust your plan during the middle as well. The biggest side effect of planning is I think I sort of overwhelm myself a lot because I have to juggle producing music, writing music, recording music, mix and mastering music, make content, market my music, find a distributor for my music, and I have to release my music. There is no way that I can expect the same high quality standard. I have limited amount of time, energy. Actually, this is a very sneaky little fact. You tend to trick yourself into thinking that you're being productive. One quick example is if I'm planning to make content around my music, then I would find myself researching different techniques, different equipment I need to film. In the end, I find myself not actually have filmed anything. So what is the result of all of this? It's inaction and demotivation. So I was thinking recently, let me change my approach, and I've actually found a solution. The solution is to implement a protocol with easily measurable indicators of performance. That's a handful of words. So it's a 2-step approach. We assess, then perform. I did say there's 2 steps, but I want to add an extra. Let's call it step 0 because no one counts 0 when they count. Don't you say anything. The summary of this whole solution is to simplify your dreams, just like the title of this video. I have this goal. I always wanted to release a full-length album, and it's kind of like, let me make my baby. That was a terrible analogy. Step 0. I sat down and I thought about my goals, a big goal actually. and that was to make an album. I sort of changed the way I thought about this because before I just pick any arbitrary goal. However, now there are some standards to the way I filter my goals. And that is, I picked a goal where the outcome would be based at least on the majority of my input. Before, I had this goal of, oh, let me get 1,000 subscribers by next month. But that never ended up happening. And the reason why is that goal is not based on my input. My input does not mean 1,000 people are going to come and subscribe to my channel. Instead, I changed my goal into saying, let me upload 5 videos per week. In that case, the outcome is based solely on my input. And then I brainstormed a list of smaller goals that will help me achieve the bigger goal. The trick here again is don't make it complicated. I only chose one small goal that would help me achieve this big one. If I need to release an album in a year, I need to first have beats, I need to have lyrics, I need to record, and then I chose one of those goals. So what do I mean by don't overcomplicate it? A really quick example could be I need to study marketing, production, engineering, the mixing and mastering, and I need to do it every single day. That never really works because it's really hard to interchange it with other responsibilities that you have throughout the day. If I had to sort of get another quick source of income to support myself, and let's say one of those departments that I had to do, I can't study marketing anymore, then that would also result in extra stress for me that I have to go through. Instead, I sort of changed it to something like, I'm going to choose this month to be only beat production month. And I made around 9. I'll show them to you now. And then after I finished making the beats, I was like, okay, let's move on to the writing phase. Right now, I'm in the process of writing the lyrics. So the next step would be to perform. Once again, we also want to make sure our performance is based solely on our input. Now we must choose our performance indicator. This was also a sort of realization that I found out during my 2-year process. And that was, don't make the performance indicator based on product. Before I would say, okay, let me make 1 beat per day. And then if I didn't make it, then that would mean I failed. Making beats is also a very creative endeavor, and you don't have the same level of creativity and the same level of energy every single day. So it's impossible actually to sort of force yourself to make quality beats. You want to be productive in a way that's efficient, not just to kill time. Instead of making your performance indicator based on product, I made it based on goals. Instead of saying, oh, let me make 1 beat per day, let me spend 3 hours of uninterrupted production time. And if I did that, then that would mean I achieved my goal. This sort of allows me to have a bit more clear picture of how to improve certain aspects of my production process that is a bit more objective. If I failed to make that 1 beat per day, then I would say, maybe I wasn't feeling creative enough that day. Very subjective and hard to pinpoint the actual cause of the problem. However, if I fail to, have 3 hours of uninterrupted production time, I could sort of narrow down the culprits. Did I have my phone next to me while I was producing? There's a bit more concrete evidence that I can use to incorporate changes. So a very straightforward diagram that you can use to sort of visualize this is you first assess, and then you pick the big goal, you list your small goals, and you choose the small goal. I would say pick one. You move on to the perform stage and you choose your performance indicator, and then you begin performing. And then you just go back after you've gone through your performances a couple times and you achieve that goal. You start to assess again and you think about, okay, what's the next goal? And then you go to perform again. And this cycle keeps repeating. So for me, right now, I have produced the 9 beats and I'm now in the process of writing the lyrics. For the next, month, I'm gonna just only spend time writing lyrics. So I have this set, system and structure that I didn't have before to help me sort of measure my progress and also to avoid making the plans too complicated and just simplifying everything into a system that I can follow. So imagine it like this. Right now I'm trying to climb to the top of this mountain, and usually how it works is you would look at the map, check if you're going the right direction, and then just keep moving forward. I'm not gonna check the map every single step I take because I'll just waste time and probably make me even more paranoid. And besides, it ruins the fun. And as you keep climbing, one day it will end up at the top.
and then admire the progress you made. I have made it to the peak. Let's go. Let's go.